at MIU, and Dr. Awad, we were talking about that criminal act of assassinating the general of the Interior Ministry, was executing this mission of cleansing Kurdesa district. How do you see that? How do you read that? And how do you justify the fact that there are still some supporters, well educated and have some awareness, any kind of awareness, who are still supporting this organization, and they still see some reason in what they are doing?
Well, I think one thing I wanted to say, first of all, good morning to all our audience.
Good morning to you.
And really, it's a sad scene we have just witnessed yesterday about this officer who has been really on duty. He was being assassinated on duty. And well, I do respect very much, highly respect those who really work until the very last minute of their life, even they don't care about even their life for the sake of Egypt. And but I think this act, let me, before I answer you, this act, as I understand, made the army officers, the security officers and the army as well, more keen to cleanse really this terrorism, because they're killing all the good people, you know, for no reason but terrorist actions, for no reason actually. And this is, I come to answer your question, how come there are still supporters to the organ? I think the supporters are shrinking. Supporters to this organization are shrinking. If there are, I think we have to first say from where they are. I mean, highly educated, or from middle education, or from, and I have really, I would say, from those street children. Remember, 20 years ago, we've been saying, or 10 to 15 years ago, we said, be careful, those street children, when they grow up, they're going to be an explosive bomb. They can be used in criminal actions. And actually what caught my attention, those who've been caught by the police, they're very young, they're age of what, I mean, 20, something like this, very young, and they look really shabby. I mean, to me, they are people. And I immediately thought that they are those who've been drafted by the Muslim Brothers to do all this dirty work or terrorism. So it's time now to be careful about, we need development. Otherwise, these people can be taken and be abused and used by terrorist actions. As for supporters, I don't know under what, why they still support or sympathize. Let me not support, but sympathize more. I know that there's still people who sympathize with the Muslim Brothers and with what went, and because of legitimacy, quote unquote, and they don't understand what's legitimacy, but it's a word being always used, legitimacy, but they don't understand. These people do not understand. It's not you are educated, but you are ignorant. I mean, being educated is something, but being ignorant about so many things in politics, in real life, that's not an excuse. Even though you are, even when you are highly educated, that you are more convicted to me. If you're not educated, that's okay. You don't know, and it's okay to be ignorant. But if you're educated and still ignorant, I don't see.
So you see some of them are ignorant or not aware enough of what they're doing, and the other people.
No, they are aware.
The other
they are
part
aware.
is yesterday's street kids, but there is international media like the Al Jazeera and CNN and some international community and human rights organizations like Amnesty and Human Rights Watch. And those people, they have sense in their minds. How do you justify their support?
No, because you do not really explain. You don't justify why we did this. Sometimes, really, it's very important that to have someone like you, the media here has a role. And I was just talking before we started this, and the media has a role.
Do you think
here.
it's unawareness or faking news? No
It's fake news. This is, there must be interest behind, by the way. I teach political communication, and when it comes to media,
please,
well, we say, elaborate that. When it comes comes to media, you're not 100%, unbiased or objective. You're not 100%, particularly if we don't speak about free, we speak about paid, kind of paid media. So you're not and particularly if you're an owner of a certain satellite or episode or whatever, then you must have a vested interest in something. And I think when we speak about CNN and Al Jazeera, of course there are vested interests, and that's why you always select the news or what seems to be, this is inhuman, what seems to be, but you don't dig for, and if you do not dig, this is again another thing. This is about, someone who's good and is doing his work as a journalist or as an interviewer or whatever, he should dig behind why you have this. But they don't dig. They just see it as it is, and they just shot.
And don't you see that they are doing the same job? They are facilitating the Obama administration job also in their attempt to launch the attacks against Syria. The same thing is playing.
Oh, the very same scenario. The very same scenario. But I think now with what we've been doing with the Ministry of Exterior and with the media now and with the information, state information organization, I think people started to understand what's going on. And you can never fool people who really, when they learn what's going on, what really is it about inside Egypt. And you find many announcers now, when I hear them, like this program, Judge Janine, exactly, Fox News. Well, these are trying now to say, no, you have to look at it from another perspective.
But actually, the truth has been clear from the beginning, but some people see what they want to see. The problem
you just answered, you see what they want to see. Yes.
Still on with Al-Ahram, we read another banner. 2 explosive devices explode in Rafah without causing any injuries. 2 bombs exploded on the Rafah Sheikh Zayed road on Friday. However, the explosions left no one injured. Meanwhile, security sources said that unknown militants planted 2 explosive devices on the main road of Sadat area, where an army and another armored vehicle were moving. So we keep hearing every day.
Explosions.
Every day we wake up hearing that. When is this going to stop? I mean, they say that we need to do some reconciliation and we need to integrate all political factions in political life and all that. So how can we be able to do that and move forward with our political roadmap when we wake up every day and see explosions here and there, and all our lives are subject to terrorism of the people that we need to reconciliate with?
I understand, but these are terrorist groups or extremist groups that are already
very different from the people that are
not very different. I mean, not very different, but they only know but one language, which is terrorist actions and violence. They only know but one action. What we're trying to see, work with the reconciliation, those who have a different language, not violence. They appeal to reason, and they understand that what happened had happened already, and they understand what legitimacy means. And this is the first thing I teach my students in political science. What is legitimacy? And all these demonstrations calling for, makes me really laugh hysterically, because these people, when they call for Sharia, legitimacy, they don't understand. They don't understand. Then they think that, well, the ex-president came by the ballot box, and he got 51. This is the votes, 50 plus 1. That is, he got majority. That means he is a legitimate leader.
And that what draws me to ask you, legitimacy, does it come only by the ballot box, or it comes by the will of the people? Because there is
the will of the people who put this in the ballot box. First of all, it's always the will of the people.
Is it based on the ballot box?
And no, this is, the starting, if I teach political science.
Because Hitler came by the ballot box before.
Because Hitler was in the army. He was someone in general in the army, and Germany at that time was out of the First World War. They are defeated, and you needed someone, and from the army, to tell them, really, I'm going to take you from defeat to victory. Of course, I would go behind this, not necessarily from the ballot box, sometimes in time of crisis, and you find a hero from nowhere comes and said, I'm going to save this country. Of course you follow. It's people will, my dear. It's you follow because I think this man is come from out
But
of
did
nowhere.
that fit with the former ousted president? Or
No. This is he came by
President
ballot box. No, but I'm telling you that you can come from different ways, by different ways. I mean, in time of crisis and ballot box, but legitimacy.
Right. I think we'll have to. I'll have to excuse you to hold here, and we're going to bring you the top stories of the hour, and we'll come back to you with Dr.
Point of
Awad.
legitimacy?
Yes, please stay with us.
Military and popular funeral service for Police Martyr General Nabil Farag was held on Friday at the police mosque in the district of Rafah. It followed funeral prayers in Al Rashdan Mosque, which took place shortly after Friday prayers. Prime Minister Hazm al-Biblawi, Minister of Defense Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Minister of Interior Mohammed Ibrahim led the funeral procession where Farag, who was killed on Thursday in a raid in Kurdasa in Giza. For his part, Sisi highlighted the authorities' resolve to move against strongholds of armed militias who are targeting the social peace and national security. Farag, assistant to Giza's security director, was shot dead on Thursday morning, only 20 minutes after the launch of the operation to cleanse Kurdasa from terror cells. A spokesman for Forensic Medical Authority said that Farag was killed after being shot from a 10 to 20 meter range with a 9mm pistol. Earlier, Biblawi conveyed his deep condolences to the martyr's family and to the Minister of Interior. In a statement, Biblawi said that the nation's security is a red line and that any acts of violence by terror groups which aims at terrorizing innocent civilians will not be tolerated. Meanwhile, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Ahmed al-Tayyib, paid his respects, as did the Coptic Orthodox Church and Pope Tawadros. The Ministry of Interior had also announced that 121 policemen were killed and 1,082 injured in a month of Egypt's war against terrorism. Residents of Abu Laila organized a rally on Friday in front of Maspero to express their support to the armed forces and the police. Participants in the rally carried pictures of Minister of Defense Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and chanted slogans supporting the armed forces and the security forces' crackdown on terrorism. A similar rally took place in Al-Wara district, where participants denounced the recent attacks against the armed forces and the security forces. Meanwhile, the limited clashes broke out between the Brotherhood elements and the residents of a number of areas in Cairo and Giza. This took place after residents in those areas refused to let rallies organized by the Brotherhood pass through their areas. In Ma'adi, clashes took place in front of the Constitutional Court overlooking Corniche, and other clashes took place in Mohandesin. The world's chemical weapons watchdog has begun on Saturday to examine details of Syria's chemical arsenal supplied by the regime. This as the rebels agreed a truce with the jihadists in a key border town. Meanwhile, China urged the quick implementation of a landmark US-Russian deal to destroy Syria's chemical stockpile. This as the Hague-based Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons had tasked with dismantling the weapons said that it has received an initial report from President Bashar al-Assad's regime on the arsenal. In New York, the UN envoys were due to resume talks on a draft Security Council resolution that would enshrine the plan to neutralize the lethal weapons. On the ground, rebels agreed